All right, a bit of a different video today. I got to spray some Certainty and Celsius out on the lawn. I've got some nuts edge popping up across the lawn, but I do want to talk about something that somebody asked today, and that is spoon feeding the lawn. So come with me. I got my mic on so you'll be able to hear me as I spray these weeds. Somebody asked, I was always told to spray fertilizer every 3 months. Why do I see people spraying once a month or weekly, whatever it was the comment said? And I was like, that's a great question, because typically if you get your fertilizer from like a big box store, the label will say feeds for 3 months or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it was, right? Whatever the label says on that fertilizer. So, you know, that's typically for the average homeowner that's going to go grab that fertilizer. They're not spending a ton of time on the lawn. They're getting out there and mowing once every week, every 2 weeks maybe. So they're not really out there on the lawn that frequently. So what those companies have done is they've made the slow release fertilizer that's going to gradually feed the lawn for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. So what people are doing when they're applying it more frequently is they are taking that dose of fertilizer and they are breaking it up into smaller increments called spoon feeding. You're spoon feeding the lawn. So again, what you're doing is you're taking that 3 months dose of fertilizer and you're breaking it down into monthly or weekly increments. Because typically what you're doing when you're feeding it every 6 to 8 weeks is you're putting down like, I want to say like 3 or 4 pounds worth of nitrogen, not of product, of nitrogen in that feeding. But it's slow release, so it's not going to burn your lawn, but you're applying it all at once. So what is happening is your Bermuda at the beginning, or whatever lawn, but I have Bermuda, so that's what I'm going to refer to. Your Bermuda at the beginning is going to be loving it, right? Because it's going to have a ton of nitrogen to feed from and be growing beautifully. The problem is that by the end of that 3 months or whatever the time frame is, it is starving for nitrogen because you fed it all at once. And so again, what people are doing when they spoon feed is they're breaking that up into, you know, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly feedings, little bits. So an analogy that I heard when I was first getting started was, think about when you're feeding a baby, right? When you wake up a baby in the morning, you're not going to feed it all 3 meals in the morning. You're going to break that up throughout the day in smaller increments. So similar with your lawn. You don't want to pound 3 to 4 pounds of nitrogen all at once and then have it just gradually take that, because by the end of it, it's going to be starving. So instead, what you want to do is feed it weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. I recommend at minimum monthly, and just feed it in smaller increments. Now, one question that I remember I had when I was first getting started that I was having trouble with figuring out was, how much nitrogen do I feed it in a month? And now this is kind of depends on your lawn, but a safe bet, right? Ideally, you should be getting a soil test to figure out what your lawn needs. But a safe bet is to give your Bermuda lawn, I'm talking about Bermuda here, not talking about other lawns because they're different. Bermuda typically is happy with 1 pound of nitrogen per month. Now, it's not 1 pound of product, 1 pound of nitrogen. There's a ton of calculators online that you can utilize to calculate how much product you need to achieve 1 pound of nitrogen. But Bermuda lawn, typically you're safe with 1 pound of nitrogen a month. You could go lower. You could go with half a pound of nitrogen. Probably don't want to go higher. You're sure you're going to get a ton of top growth, and it kind of exposes you for fungal issues, things like that. So yeah, that's spoon feeding. Essentially, you're breaking up that 3 month feeding into smaller increments, which could be monthly or weekly or whatever. All right, that's it. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're not subscribed yet, remember to subscribe or follow along. I appreciate you guys watching, and catch you guys outside in the next one. See ya.